Good evening, ladies, gentlemen. Barry S. Davies, Jeremy Daniels already checking in. And who are we?
We are resilient. We are war.
Yes, I am Mike Erie, also known as 40 Mike around these parts.
40
I'm here,
Mike laying it down for the Mark 19.
and I'm here with Travis B. of Oscar Mike Radio, soon to be 8 years running, soon to be 400 episodes in the books.
That's right.
Getting inches closer, inches.
I'm telling you, just day by day, man.
It's wow, 400. Wow.
It's
Still mind
something else.
blowing.
It's still like when you start looking at just podcasting on the macro level, it's like the number of people that get to 400, man, is a small number. So it feels really good, man. Thanks.
Not a problem. And if you see in the last week or so, the good old Commonwealth has blessed us with uh, some new benefits, some rewording of the definition of veteran to make sure that some folks that were not included previously are now.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Because looking at it, man, it is something else. Like the VA has their. We got Ken Leibowitz down there in the Alabama South region. We're nationwide tonight. Hey, Ken, how you doing, brother? Um, you know, the VA has their definition of veteran, but I really didn't appreciate the fact that states, in this case, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, can define their own definition for veteran, and it really looks like it really includes National Guard and reservists. Like they all get an upgrade now on the state level, anyway.
Yep, and that's long overdue. And like you said, it's kind of funky how it was set up, and basically even how the veteran service organizations are set up. Like it used to be Congress that verified them and gave them their authorization to be charters, and now it's the organizations themselves that become the people self-charterizing themselves, and that's where I think things have also gone downhill a little bit. Is there's no overhead on some of these organizations.
I totally agree. We talked about this before, where if some of these nonprofits are not careful, it's going to be a very rude wake up call. So it looks like one of the things I was going to ask you, Mikey. It looks like that you better be careful if you're individual filing a VA claim for one of your buddies, because the state and the VA get a hold of you, they figure out who did it. It's that is coming to an end.
Yeah, they don't want it to be fudged. They want the veteran signing on paper that they're part of the claim. They no longer want these organizations to not actually see the person that they're doing a claim for, and then just submitting claims based off of what the prognosis says in the book, what qualifies. A lot of guys just have been putting in the rubber stamped, this is what I have, this is what I need to get the percentage, instead of actually putting down their symptoms and then seeing what matches the rating they should get.
So I mean, we have some changes coming. I mean, I don't know. I was learning about it this week, but I'm not sure if these are in are law yet. But it certainly looks like it's going to go up to the state house. It's either already approved or getting ready to go into effect. And I think for one, if you're a guardsman or a reservist, you get a lot more from this state than you would other states. And people don't realize a lot of guardsmen and reservists don't get a lot from the federal government, unless they really serve in a theater of operations for an extended period of time. So in some ways, it's really a boost to that population.
And I know guys too used to being in the guard, they would be, how do I get another chance to go out there and talk about things? And, how do I get to become a veteran? Some guys would volunteer for tours to go to Korea for a year just to get the veteran status because, the 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year just won't cut it.
Right. Right. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if you don't do that as a especially a guardsman, you just don't get anything. And I'm not saying these guys are doing it to get stuff, but if you get hurt or you need benefits when your chapter 150, not so much not so much in mass, but on the federal level, all the SSVF stuff is not available to you because you weren't considered fully in the game, and it's like weird.
And it does it. It's like the definition, shows you as one thing, and then what you actually did, it varies because the whole Title 32, stateside mission underneath the governor, or Title 10, where you have you're back underneath federal orders, and guardsmen and reservists, we all go through the same training. We all go active duty. It's all the same basic training. We all go together to do it. We all go together to our our RMOS school, and then just from there, it goes, these guys go to the state and now they fall into two commands. These guys go active and, have their lifestyle, and, the other guys go to the reserve and they fall under, federal, but, federal, can call them up easier than guardsmen.
So in some ways, man, it's really cool to see. Um, you know, there's other stuff coming down the line with enhanced, you know, enhancements to the Chapter 115, which is what every VSO who is working for the cities that they're in the Commonwealth have to abide to. So I was just curious, why do you think these changes came about, man? It seems like a really, odd time to be putting these changes through, but it's my understanding that some of these have been going for quite some time.
I think, it just happens to be, you get a new administration and it's time to push a lot of new things. I think, having the the Executive Office of Veteran Services, being, we have a secretary, again, that's, the Executive Office of Veteran Services, that's, we have a position now, again, before we were under Health and Human Services,
Oh, right, right.
and now we have our own, secretary, we have our own section, we have our own, you know, members that are there at the state house pushing for this support and pushing for these changes versus fighting as part of homeless, elderly, sick, and everything else together. And now we're able to get the piece of the pie that was promised, you know actually getting paid out.
Well, it really is something. So I think at first I was kind of curious how this was going to work out because of the last secretary of Veteran Services for the Commonwealth, but the new secretary Santiago's come in and really like embrace the fact that, hey, we are our own entity now, and we are going to be staffed by veterans as much as possible to support veterans as much as possible, and not just do it on the state level, man. I mean, I was going to ask you, it seems like there's this real push to make sure that the VA and the state are working together. So, whatever is available to, if Chapter 115 can't cover something, then the VA can, or, those programs are available.
We are really blessed to be in Massachusetts and have Chapter 115. That is a benefit that's not available in any other state. That's a mass general law specific for us, and that's what provides each town that has X amount of veterans to have a veteran service officer right there in the town that helps them be able to get money for emergencies, be able to have those programs for making sure utilities get paid, making sure that there's funding for food, making sure that families are taken care of, next of kin. When a service member passes, making sure the burial markers are put out there. all these things that get pushed onto one person usually as an extra responsibility is actually a job in itself for these veteran service officers. You know, they do have a lot on their plates, and it's all how they handle it. Some veteran service officers go out there, grab the bull and ride it and take it to new levels, and others are just kind of like there for the paycheck. And I've always talked to guys, and if you have trouble with one veteran service officer, don't be afraid to go talk to a different one. You know,
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You start to realize through like the Massachusetts Veteran Services Officer Association, that it's a tight group, man. I mean, these people all know each other. Um, there's a lot of support there for making sure veterans can be taken care of, and there's just a lot they have to know. So I'm really happy to see that there is this renewed focus on veterans, especially with the upcoming Heroes Act, under consideration. So, um,
so
it's
that
just
it had a couple of wordings were changed last week.
yep.
It changed department to executive office of veteran services. All the wording changes, all the verbiage, all the updates on the definition of a veteran. Taking out just he and adding he, she, or they, whatever they have to have there to make it so it's not just men that are getting benefits. And then it's just everything becoming modern, and that was voted on, and it was passed. I want to say 153 yeses to 0 no's.
Wow, that's nice.
So that was on the 22nd. They had to go back and forth on some amendments on verbiage, but they had two very similar bills. I want to say it was 4661 and 4712, and the two of them they merged together to come up, a new bill combined to be sent to the head honcho in Massachusetts to be signed to become a law here for us.
What do you think? So here's something that I just kind of want to bounce off you, and in a way, man, you and I are both kind of dealing with this in different ways. Is I'm hearing all the stuff about expanding housing services or understanding what housing services like SSVF and HUD-VASH and all that make sure that's available to the veteran, and they can do part of that through 115. But my thing is this, man. I mean, nothing. Absolutely, someone who meets the qualifications and requirements for Chapter 115 should be helped, right? There's no argument there. But I'm curious, man. If we're not careful, man, how is an E3, E4, E5, or even an O1 through O3 get out of the military, come to the state, and have what they need to put down roots and start raising a family just out of the military? It doesn't seem possible anymore.
It's not. I mean, the cost of living in Massachusetts has absolutely skyrocketed. Adam's checking in, saying even through SSVF. I'm currently in a program through SSVF, subsidy stability program,
Oh yeah.
where they help with the down payment on the apartment for us. Because these places, they want, you go look at it, they want first, last, and security. You're looking at, 9 grand to move into a place.
Right, right. I mean, you have to have anywhere in this state, you have to have anywhere between 7 to 12 grand to rent, 700 credit score, and then be able to move. And I'm like, even if you have your terminal pay, right, and your pay back to your home state, even with the welcome bonus for Massachusetts people who joined from Mass and came back, that's not enough to get started, man. I mean, am I missing something here?
It's the biggest thing is we have all these programs to transition people out and to get them to understand everything, but literally unless you're set up to get out of the military and roll right into your next career, there's going to be a struggle. you know and the transition doesn't automatically happen too between I get off active duty and then I start getting my VA benefits. it took several months for that to kick in, and then also like for me to get my combat related special compensation, my CRSC, that took 6 years.
6 years?
6 years to get a benefit that I was due upon retirement.
Wow, man. So we got Connor Sullivan, fellow Veterans Brotherhood VMC brother. Hey, how you doing? Um, Adam talking about how he was thankful for SSVF. Very good. But it just seems like, you know, it took this administration a little while in my view, but I really have to think that, Secretary Santiago really started pushing some of this stuff forward. I think what I'm trying to say, Mike, is I'm seeing the benefit and the advantage for us having our own secretary to speak for us. People are listening to him. It's what it seems like to me.
So Barry's asking the question: what is CRSC? CRSC is combat related special compensation. So instead of just getting my VA benefits, I'm also to get I get my VA benefit and I get my Army retirement pay as well, because the injury that I was retired for was the injury sustained over in Iraq.
What do you see as being next for us, Mike? I mean, what do we need next? Is it more housing assistance? Is this education assistance, job retraining? There's a lot of people wondering, what can be done because here's the thing, just to interrupt myself a little bit. A lot of people still think that veterans have it made. Like we're all set, like we're taken care of. We've got no worries. You can just go into the VA, like go into CVS, and if you need something, you get it like right then. And it's not that way, is it?
No, not at all. And like I'm saying here, education, job training, that right there is one of the biggest things is not even just formal education, just educating people on the benefits on how to apply to them, how to get ahead of things, and also we need to talk to these people and let them know some of these benefits, the requirements for them. You have to be face down in the gutter before you can get them. And I think that's where some things need to change too, where people can get help when they're starting to struggle instead of being fully you know face down, down and out on their last edge, you know about to do some self harm to themselves. And that's when we help them. We need to help them, when they're stumbling, not when they're already falling.
Well, there does seem to be something because, again, when you look at the requirements for Chapter 115 benefits, to your point, and look, I'm not saying I want to be in the space where a 115 recipient is. I'm not saying that at all, because if you meet the requirements for a Chapter 115 assistance, a lot of things went wrong, and we want to make sure we can help those veterans, absolutely, but there doesn't seem to be much available. Like once you over the threshold for 115, it's really hit or miss about what's available to you.
It is, and that's the other thing too that they did address too with this act was when things like cola go up, you're not instantly removed from the benefit that you have because your cost of living allowance went up $15. You're not going to be kicked off the program, and you're not going to lose your housing because of it anymore. They're looking at cola now as it's a cost of living increase that you actually need to survive, not something that's going to push you over a threshold that makes you another standard of living.
Right, right, right. Because I mean, 63. What is this? No, it's I don't have the exact numbers in my head right now, Mike, and I don't want to just assume things here, but when you look at what the requirements are for Chapter 115, it's not really for low, middle, or upper middle class veterans. There's just not a lot for you. I think the only thing that I've seen is if you want a vanity plate for your car, about your branch of service for the fact you're a veteran in this state, you don't have to pay the fee anymore. Well, that's great. How about giving me like half off my commuter rail pass, or a free ride a month? That would be great. That would help me get to work. That'd be a huge boost. I'm just saying, there's stuff
Do
like that
you
that
have a tap pass?
what?
Do you have a tap pass?
I've never heard of a tap pass. What's a tap
So,
pass? It's like a
so a
trolley
tap.
card.
Yep. So the Charlie card, but it's a disability Charlie card. So, and
What?
you get half off of every single ride on the commuter rail. Half off every single one. Every time you go in, you pay half the rate. You get a monthly subway pass for $30 to ride the subway unlimited amount,
Get out, dude.
and it is called a TAP. You have to apply for it at government.
You, what, the MBTA
Center.
site?
Yep, and it
Get
looks just
out,
like
dude.
this. It's a Charlie card, and then on the back, it's got a picture of your mug on it. So it's the transportation access pass TAP.
Oh,
And if you have a VA disability of 20% or higher, you are eligible for this card to save on
well, I
MBTA
do.
commuter rail.
Because I'm zone 4, man, and people don't believe me. I pay a car payment
Yes.
a month to ride the commuter rail into work, and,
Yep.
and so I'm
No.
like, okay,
So if you
forget
go,
the
I'll get
license
the.
plate. Just help me out with my commuter rail pass. I'm trying to get to work
Yep.
here.
I'm gonna get you the website right now so I can share it with everybody.
Oh, that's
Just
cool,
want to
man.
fill in for a second here. Because yeah, that helped me a lot. Because when I was taking the commuter rail from Swampscott into North Station, and then I was taking it from South Station to Westwood, same thing. That would have cost an arm and a leg to be taking those trips every day when I was going to work.
Man, that's crazy, dude. I didn't even know about that.
All right, here comes the link for it. So yeah, anybody that's VA disability, follow the link. This is one of the things that's available out there through the MBTA. You fill out a packet, you bring it in, you show your letter of disability that you can print off from VA.gov, and that'll show you, that you qualify for this benefit, and that'll, like I said, it saves you half off of every ride for the commuter rail, and then I think if you buy like weekly passes and things like that too, those are half off as well.
Look at what we just did tonight, man. I mean, just by, and this is the thing. This is the thing, right? I mean, you know, I is it a big issue? No, but man, it's a really nice to have if you're trying to make it work for you. As a veteran, we gotta stick the paw in there and say, hey, you know what? It'd be nice if I had this, or I've got this problem. And another veteran's like, hey, I have the solution right here, or I don't know the answer, but you can ask this person right now. In other words, you got to speak up. You got to speak up and ask for help. And just, you know, I'm like, forget free license plates. I need some help with my commuter rail pass, please. That's a car payment a month.
Yep.
It's
And
over $300 a month to take commuter rail.
they said you just even too when you go on to what's the app called for M ticket?
Yeah, M
If
ticket.
you
See M ticket.
Yeah, if you go right onto the M ticket, uh, I go on ticket wallet, and it'll show you that everything's the everything's half, one way half. So that way everything's
That's
Scott
wild,
was only
man. That is
station three, but
wild.
I was going to station four to Brockton. Which one are you getting on? Are you getting on Bridgewater?
I get on in zone 4, which is Abington, Holbrook, or there's another one that's out further west. So it's just and I can't even imagine having like a zone 10 pass. like these guys coming from Fall River well, Fall River's not built yet, but if you're coming in from Providence, Rhode Island to Boston for some reason,
No, even
um,
when you go to Lowell, you take the line out to the you go up to the guys that live in Gloucester and like Haverhill, those end of the line stations, and it's like it really does. Like the first time I took one of those trips out there, and you're getting over $20 for a ride. It was like this is cheap. This is the commuter rail
right?
is supposed to help people by saving money by not having to drive. What incentive is there for that? But yeah,
Well,
this
that's
is
the
my
problem, right? That's the
my
problem. I
Shrek
mean,
jersey.
well, just take the commuter rail, and you realize it's like, hey, wait a minute. By the time I pay for parking and pay for the pass, maybe I'll just drive because at least I can be in my own place. I can leave when I want to leave. And, if I got to get to an appointment somewhere, I can do that. Like if I've got to go to Jamaica Plain or Brockton from Boston, man, I can't take the rail in because there's no flexibility. So screw it. I'll just drive.
Yeah,
So good stuff, man. Good stuff. Um, oh yeah. Hey, you're a Celtics fan? You for real?
absolutely. I got my Shaq jersey on tonight.
What?
Yeah, but
Shaq didn't play for the Celtics, did he?
he did. He
Get
was
out.
he was the
No.
he was the big green leprechaun.
Okay. I mean, I missed that somewhere. I knew he played
Yep.
for
He
the
actually
Lakers.
sat. When they've got the Maple Leaf Ducklings, and they've got the
Yeah.
little statue of the person on the bench right there.
Okay.
He sat right next to the statue in the Maple Leaf Ducklings, and he sat there for like a whole day in the common, taking pictures with people and having fun, joking around.
Well, look at all the stuff I'm learning tonight, man. I, I didn't. Well, he played for the Lakers and he played for the Magic. I didn't know he ever was a Celtics guy.
You know, he
Get
came up
out.
here and thought he was gonna do good things, and unfortunately, he was not able to get that last one with us because it was right after we had won the uh, what year was that? It was during one of my tours because it was every other tour a Boston sports team won a championship. So I felt like I had to keep going overseas in order for them to win. Because
All
like
right.
I went over on my first tour, the Red Sox won, and the Patriots won. Went over on my second tour, the Red Sox won, Celtics won. Third tour, Bruins won, the Patriots won.
What do you think about while we're speaking of new acts? Like one of the provisions in the Heroes Act, too, man, is this like it's hey, we want a funded study about cannabis efficacy in veterans. Like it's not just anecdotal, it's not just what the VA reports, but the Commonwealth is saying, hey, we want to understand exactly how cannabis impacts veterans' lives. What do you think about that?
That's going to be awesome. And they also want to go one step further, and they want to look into psychedelics, the use of ketamine, things like that, as far as that way to help veterans struggling with anxiety disorders, PTS, traumatic brain injuries, people suffering from the effects of military sexual trauma. Uh, all these things, the way ketamine was described to me is that it allows you to step out of your body and kind of look at things from the outside in, and I think if used properly and used in a controlled environment where people are educated about the thing that they're going to take and they take it properly, that these medications can do great things for folks.
Yeah, I think that's the thing for me. I've never done drugs or cannabis or anything else like that, but I definitely agree with you. If it's taken with controlled oversight as part of a true like clinical regimen for treatment, I don't see why it can't be successful, and certainly with less side effects and less damage than Percocets or oxys or opioid based treatment. Not I'm not saying that those don't have a place, but it just seems like those have caused a lot of damage.
It does, and like there's always been a big push, for plants over pills and things like that. Where why is this one thing on our left legal and the other on the right isn't, when it's all it is the pharmaceutical companies pushing it down on what was that family's name, the ones that with the opioids that got in all the trouble for giving the doctors the free reign to basically get a nation hooked.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I forget the name. It escapes me right now, but that's my thing. It's like, hey, a pill is perfectly okay, but a plant's not. So I'm glad to see that, at least as it was, oh my God, as it was explained to me, excuse me, this study is to start laying some real groundwork in an independent study about, what we're actually doing here. I know it's not federally accepted right now, but I also, can't ignore uh, the fact that it's helped a lot of veterans out.
Absolutely, and I do have this link you shared me. Does it have to do with little Oscar Mike Radio?
Hold on a second. If I shared with you that link, oh, I can't click that link out of the restream chat. That's weird. Oh, well, okay. So this is the Abington Veterans Muster. This is a TV program that I created and host through Abington Community Access. And in this show, I have State Representative Allison Sullivan Almeida on to talk with me about the HEROES Act, about, you know, advocating for her veteran constituents. And she talked about the HEROES Act. She was very, open and warm about, the need for this act to take care of veterans. Again, I'm not sure about the license plate. You know, vanity license plates are great. I do have one in my car, Mike, but I'm thinking, well, I'm a veteran. I got my, rating. It sure be nice to get a break on things that, really affect me every day, like the commuter rail pass. That really, is a huge nut out of my, pocket every month to crack. It's a need the hammer, the sledgehammer, and it's tough. But I think it's important for people to, you know, listen to that, whether you're in Abington or not, understand some of the processes and thoughts going through a politician's head when they're trying to determine how to advocate. And a lot of them don't know, which is why I think it's important that you reach out to them, look and see who your elected officials are at the local level, because you can't get federal advocacy if you're not getting local advocacy.
Mm-hmm.
So it all starts with your, town selectmen, mayors, your at-large counselors, up to your state and reps and your Senate reps, state Senate reps, then the federal level.
And even if
So
you're not getting a hold of the representative themselves, their staff or their veterans agent, is a great resource to be in contact with, to have, an email chain open with about, these things. And, being able to explain, hey, this is, a benefit that would directly affect, me and the veterans I know locally, will you support this, when it comes up to be, brought to vote?
for sure, for sure. So it's just a really cool episode because I realize that a lot of people don't get to see what's going on when it comes to what their elected officials have to consider before they vote for a bill or sponsor a bill. And I think it's important to see. Uh, Representative Sullivan Almeida is a great advocate for us here in the South Shore of Massachusetts. So check it out and let me know what you think if you're watched about 3 minutes long.
Absolutely. So the link's there, and I'll share it again after the show this evening to be able to save it on top of the episode here tonight. Speaking of episodes here tonight, what do you have? going on with Oscar Mike Radio this evening?
Well, I mean, on the theme of cannabis, man, through I got your 6-2 lives at once. We got to go to the Harvest Cup in Worcester, Mass, last November, and what it is, it's a huge. Think more of the corporate level. These are cannabis companies that are coming together to talk about industry and stuff like that. And we got a table outside of the conference, right? And like one table down from us, Patriot Helping Our Vets was there, and we got to start talking with them about what they do. And their thing is not so much in Massachusetts, although they do have a Massachusetts presence, but they're really concerned about that veteran in a state where, cannabis isn't really welcome, to say the least, but they will help you figure out how to grow your own and educate yourself about what may be appropriate for you. And, even in the state where it's legal, they want you to, acquire cannabis from reputable dealers, or again, learn how to grow it yourself so you can, be truly self-service. And I think, again, I don't do cannabis, never have, don't really have any desire to, but I got to tell you, Mike, it was a very interesting community. Like nobody got, an ego or anything. Everybody was there to help everybody else. Tom Rand and Joel Baldessano and other people were very, warm and welcoming to us and explain, why they advocated so hard for it. So Joe's a U.S. Air Force veteran and just want to talk to me about, his experience with this. And it was kind of dovetailed nicely with the discussion I had with Representative Sullivan Almeida.
And do you remember when we had what you call it, Nicole on our show?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So Nicole works for a company called Canna Management, and so she was one of my soldiers on the third tour I did in Iraq, and she's actually the COO for Canna Management. This is their Facebook page. They do a lot of events with the cannabis community in Massachusetts, whether it's a new dispensary opening up, or they did like a Veterans Day uh, where they had four people up on stage, talking about their roles as veterans in the cannabis community and things that are out there, and how rules changing, and the doctors that are seeking to get cannabis access more easily available to veterans without having the stigma that the federal government had laid on it. And for me personally, I'm the opposite of you. Cannabis for me has, been great. I would rather, utilize cannabis than be on all of the medications that they had me on at one point, where it was like, here's a pill to wake up, here's a pill for the afternoon, here's a pill, in the evening, here's a pill to go to sleep.
Well, that's the thing. I don't do it, but I have watched people when I was volunteering at a local veterans nonprofit, where the guy brought in a duffel bag full of pills and was literally you know taking two pills to combat the effect of one pill, and then had to take three others. It was a mess. And he started on his own playing around with cannabis, and then he got with people who knew what they were doing, and 6 months later he's down to like three pills a week, and he looked, sounded, and acted like a completely different individual. Lucid, aware of his surroundings, interested to learn, engaging. It was different, man. So I may not do it, but I've certainly seen with my own two eyes the benefits from it. I just think that if you're going to use it, you should get professional help or people that know what they're doing to help guide your treatment plan, so you're not hurting yourself anymore. But I'm not going to sit there and judge somebody because they do it. Especially, I mean, you've lived with chronic pain. I've lived with chronic pain and sustained discomfort. That's no way to live, man. And so to me, if a plant can help you live a better life, I'm all for it.
Absolutely. Like I said, for me, like the effects, even just looking at one of the pills that I was on, like Ambien, like it was like if I take the Ambien, and if you don't fall asleep within that first like 15, 20 minutes, it's literally like you're tripping balls. And it's like you're looking at pictures on the wall and you think things are moving, and it's like, people have all those things where they've, gone night driving on Ambien, they don't remember doing it, and it's like, that shit's scary.
You think? For
So
sure. For sure.
meanwhile, the worst thing that's going to happen if you have some cannabis before you go to bed is you may wake up and you're out of Doritos.
What's your favorite kind of Doritos, man?
I got to go with the Cool Ranch.
When I don't eat them very often. In fact, I can't remember the last time I had Doritos, but when I get a hankering for Doritos, it has to be the Cool Ranch. It just does. They just really hit different than the other flavors.
And what's nice too is sometimes with the Cool Ranch is take them, crush them up, uh, put them into like a shaker, and you use it as a seasoning.
Get out, dude! I never even thought about doing that. That's a good
It,
idea.
it is absolutely delicious to put it on. Meat, chicken. Slap it on there on the side. It's real good.
Adam says Cool Ranch dipped in sour cream. I mean, I might have to try some of that. Nicely done.
And
All
I
right.
just feel like we're the generation that was targeted by Doritos, Mountain Dew, Taco Bell. Like they're like eat all these terrible things here, and it's like now they're all together at one place. It's like Taco Bell, you can get a Cool Ranch Dorito taco and have a liter of Mountain Dew as a side beverage.
Oh man. Um, you got any events coming up for Hellfish Haven anytime soon?
We have a family game night coming up in North Attleboro at the end of the month. We're going to be taking over North Attleboro VFW for a family game night, but I also want to share this event that's going on this weekend. Let's see if this will work. Scott was
Yes, City of
on
Lowell.
with us a couple weeks ago to share this one. They're having this event on Saturday, and there's going to be, I think, almost 30 veteran service organizations that are going to be part of this. So that's going to be a big event, getting low, you know, back into the swing of things and back, part of the communication. Like Scott said when he was on the show, is too many of these organizations are right in our woods and we don't know about them. So it's time to start doing things together and creating these collaboratives that that share not only our mission but other people's missions too.
Wow, wow, wow. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna get ready for number 399 with Joe Baldessano. Time flies when you're having fun. Let's do this again next week. I'm gonna, download and read this updated, act going in, and go Celtics.
Absolutely, and don't forget to fill out that form for your tap card so you can go to government center
I am all over
and you
that
can
like
get that tap
Donkey
card.
Kong, dude.
So
I,
I'm gonna
I,
leave the links on the Hellfish Haven and War pages when I get a chance. Thank you guys for joining us this evening. Always a pleasure to have you guys in the chat. Guiding us along.
absolutely, Ken, Adam, and Doug, Barry. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
All right, guys, have a great night. We are War. We are Resilience.